Hi everyone, I'm Kamal Baloch and today I'm going to explain you one complete paper that is March 2023 exam. So this is March 2023 exam paper 3-2. So this is A2 economics paper 3. So I'll explain complete paper in this video lecture. So the first question is again the same scheme. You have to stop the video, read the question carefully, try to figure out what should be the answer, then listen to the logic that I'm explaining. So question number 1 is one more thing, I'll be explaining only the correct option, that is correct option, because if I explain each and every option then definitely it takes a lot of time and generally making so long video is not possible. So I'll explain you the correct option. If you are confused with any of other option, then you may write in the comment box and I'll get back to you as early as possible. So the first question is, utility theory is based on the assumption of rational consumer. What is necessary to act as rational consumer? So option D is the correct answer. Rational consumer is a person who has access to complete information. Definitely yes. And addictive behavior, the person who has addictive behavior can never be a rational. He would be an irrational person. Choice is independent of other consumers. Yes, definitely his choice is totally independent. He makes his own choices as per his own needs and wants instead of keeping other people in mind. So option D is the correct answer. Moving to question number 2, the price of good S is $6 and the price of good T is $8. A consumer's marginal utility for each good is shown. These are the marginal utilities. These are marginal utilities of good S and these are for good T. If the consumer wants to maximize the utility, total utility, which combination of goods would they consume? Keep in mind, marginal utility theory suggests us that utility is maximized at a point where marginal utility of one good, that is S, divided by price of that good, that is price of S, is equal to marginal utility of the second good, that is T, and price of the second good, that is T. Okay, so where this condition is satisfied, definitely the answer will be that answer will be correct. So option B here is correct answer for this question. In option B, good S 2 units. If consumer consumes 2 units of good S, then it means marginal utility is 24. So marginal utility of S is 24. You can put 24 here. And the price of good S is 6, and the second quantity of basically good T is 1. So on 1 unit or first unit, marginal utility of T is 32. So put 32 here, and if we go on to the price of T, then it is $8. So 24 over 6 is equal to 4 and 32 over 8 is equal to 4. So utility maximization condition is satisfied here at option B. So we will pick option B. Okay, so if you are confused with other options, again you can write in the comment box and I'll get back as early as possible. The diagram shows the effect of price change on an individual consumer's equilibrium moving from E1 to E2. So this is initial equilibrium E1 and this is subsequent equilibrium E2. What can be deduced from the diagram? And the correct answer for this question is also B, right? So you have to basically you have to find out the impact of price change on substitution effect and income effect. Okay, so price falls. If price falls, definitely initial budget line was FG. So this is highly technical question. This is initial budget line. And the initial consumer is taking place at this initial budget line, red line at point E, and the subsequent budget line is this one, F2H. Keep in mind, when budget lines basically shift pivotally like this is a pivotal shift and it happens because of fall in price of good X. So this is good X. If price of good X falls and price of Y remains constant, remains same, then the combination on Y axis will remain the same, but combination on X will move to the right. So in this case, you can see that initially budget line was FG and it has shifted from FG to FH. So it shows that price of good X has decreased. So we will pick option B. Option A is also fallen price of X, but correct answer is B because other options are not correct in option A. Okay, so substitution effect is positive. Keep in mind, substitution effect is always positive. You need not to think on that, right? You have to pick positive substitution effect. This is the case always, because whatever we purchase, we are substituting it with something else. So substitution effect is always positive. So we will again pick option B. And what about income effect? Income effect here is negative, right? If we look into the dotted line, that is this line, I'm making it a blue line, right? So this line shows substitution effect. Substitution effect is shown with two cross lines, right? So these are two cross lines, F, G, and this blue line, these are crossing each other, so they show substitution effect. So at the initial budget line, initial equilibrium was at E, where we were purchasing suppose X1 quantity of X good, and in substitution effect we moved to this point where we will be purchasing X2 quantity of X good. So we are moving forward. So when we move forward, it is basically positive. Effect is positive. So substitution effect is positive. As I told you earlier, substitution effect is always positive. You need not to think on that, and you can just pick positive, otherwise you can verify it as well. So if we move to the right, that is positive effect, and if we move backward, that is negative effect, right? So now we have to basically conclude on the last thing, that is income effect. Income effect will be negative. Why income effect will be negative? Because income effect is shown with two parallel lines, right? If you want to basically understand this this complete concept in thorough way, then you can go to the video. I'll share the video link in the description. Then you can go to the budget line and indifference curve theory, and you can basically watch that video thoroughly, and you can understand what and how changes take place in different cases. So income effect is when two budget lines are parallel to each other. So in this case, two budget lines that are parallel to each other include, one is blue line, this one, and the other one is this red line. So at the blue line, we were purchasing, let's suppose, X1 quantity of X good, and moving back from this point to E2, the consumption of X good has decreased, mean quantity of X good has decreased from X1 to X2. So we are moving backward. When we move backward, this is called negative effect. When we move upward or rightward, that is known as positive effect. So option B is correct answer. Question number 4 is relevant to dynamic efficiency. Keep in mind the keyword that is basically used for the dynamic efficiency is technology. So option D is correct answer. So dynamic efficiency is achieved or created when we improve technology or we invest in new technology. Okay, so this is the keyword for this. Dynamic efficiency is shown graphically as well, because examiners sometimes ask question graphically as well. So in dynamic efficiency, average cost completely shifts downward, right? So this is called dynamic efficiency. Question number 5 says, at which level of output sales maximization achieved consistent with earning normal profit? Okay. So what is the requirement of this question? Question is asking the condition for normal profit, and normal profit is achieved when average cost is equal to average revenue, or we can also say that average cost is equal to price, because average revenue is always equal to price. So you can replace average revenue with price as well. And why average revenue is always equal to price? So you can use the formula to find out find it as well. For example, total revenue, we have formula for total revenue. Total revenue is equal to price multiplied by quantity, right? So if we want to find out price, then price is equal to total revenue divided by quantity, and when we divide total revenue by quantity, that is also known as average revenue. So price is always equal to average revenue. So condition can be average cost is equal to average revenue or average cost is equal to price. So for question number 5, D will be the answer if we satisfy this condition of nominal profit. So average cost is equal to average revenue at this point. So option D will be the correct answer. Question number 6 says what is achieved in monopolistic competition in the long run? Allocative efficiency. The firms in imperfect market are never basically economically efficient. So no and no, right? Supernormal profit, they can't earn supernormal profit in the long run. Yeah, we will pick no, option no. So A is the correct answer. So when there is competition in the market, firms don't earn supernormal profit in the long run, and because of competition, whenever there are chances of supernormal profit, many new firms can easily enter the industry. When new firms enter the industry, the supernormal profit is basically reduced to the normal profit. So supernormal profit can't be earned in perfect competition as well as in monopolistic competition. Question number 7 says that the world's largest pharmaceutical companies developed and distributed an effective vaccine combat a dangerous virus, right? So what can be associated with this vaccine program? So B is the correct answer, imperfect competition and positive consumption externalities. Vaccination is a merit good, and vaccination, education and plantation are the merit goods, and they create positive externalities. So positive externality is mentioned here, and no other option is basically talking about positive externality. So we will cross all of them, and the correct option will be B. There is imperfect competition and positive consumption externalities. Imperfect competition is basically when prices can be discriminated. Again, stop the video and read this question carefully. A landlord owns a house which is rented to tenants, right? The tenants are required to pay electricity and water bills. So this is the liability of the tenant. This is paid by the tenant, right? Tenant is the person who got a house on rent. The landowner or landlord is required to decorate and repair the damage to the house and the garden. So if any kind of damage occurs, then that is paid by the owner. So owner in economics, owner is known as principal and the tenant here is known as agent. What is not an example of principal agent problem? So principal agent problem is when there is conflict between two parties like owner and tenant, and here examiner is asking what will not cause principal agent problem. It means all other options will cause principal agent problem. There is only one option that will not cause conflict. It means all other options cause conflict. There is only one option that will not cause conflict between owner and the tenant. So question option C is the correct answer. Then the tenant leaves the lights and the television on when they go out for an evening meal, right? So it's not a conflicting thing because owner has no concern about the electricity bills and water bills. So this is the liability of tenant. If he leaves electricity, water or television, these things on, then definitely he has to pay electricity and water bills. So he himself will be responsible for that. So owner has no loss, so he will not conflict with the tenant. So option C is the correct answer. Again, if you don't understand other options, you may write in the comment box. Question number 9 says the result of a cost benefit analysis of a proposed government road building project is that there will be a positive net social benefit of $50 million. Why might the government not proceed with the project? even though its social benefits are high, but why a government will not undergo this project or proceed to this project? Correct answer is C. There is limited capital available for the government project. So even if the project has benefits for the society, but still if government doesn't has sufficient funds, then definitely it cannot undertake this project. So again, read other options as well and write in the comment if you don't understand them. If the marginal cost of a good is lower than its price, allocative efficiency has not been achieved, what is likely to remedy this situation? So answer C is correct for this. Production of good should increase, right? Price of good should decrease. If you make a graph, technical graph, why it happens, then you can see it here in this graph. This is average revenue and this is marginal revenue and this is marginal cost. What generally imperfectly competitive markets do is they produce where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So this is the point where initially firms will be producing, and this is the price the firm will be charging. So this is price P and quantity is Q. Okay, so while the allocative efficiency is achieved at a point where marginal cost is equal to average revenue, right? So this is the point where output should be produced to be allocatively efficient, and this should be the price for allocatively efficient point. So output should rise and price should fall. One more thing, examiner is asking about the marginal cost as well. So marginal cost is lower than price for output Q. For output Q, marginal cost is this much, and price is this much. So price is greater than the marginal cost, right? For allocative efficiency, marginal cost should be equal to price or marginal cost should be equal to average revenue. And this condition is satisfied at point E where output should be Q, so output should increase and price should decrease to achieve this allocatively efficient point. Okay, hope you understand. If you don't, then again write in the comment box. Moving to question number 11. The diagram shows an industry's demand and supply of labor. Initially the labor market is in equilibrium, right? So this is the equilibrium point where demand and supply of labor meet each other. The government introduces minimum wage OW naught. So this is OW naught, minimum wage. Minimum wage is above equilibrium. What will be the effect on the level of employment in the industry, right? So at equilibrium point you can see employment was this much number of workers were employed, Y. But when wage rate increases to W naught, then you can see the demand for labor has decreased to X. It means employment will decrease, right? So option A is correct answer. Employment will decrease to X to XY. Okay. So this is the employment that will increase. However, examiner sometimes asks about the total unemployment at W naught. So when he asks such question, then the answer should be this much amount of workers will be totally unemployed. This is the total unemployment, or you can draw the perpendicular and you can say that X to Z, these are the people that are totally unemployed. The diagram shows supply curve of labor for two separate markets, X and Y. Okay, so X has inelastic supply. When supply curve is steep, this is inelastic, and when it is flat, it is elastic supply. What explains the difference in the gradient of the labor supply curves? For this question, answer is D. Market X has more specific skills and training requirements than Y. So when supply is inelastic, it means workers cannot be easily supplied, and when they cannot be easily supplied, the reason can be they require more education and training. So option D is correct answer. Question number 13 says the table shows the main characteristics of employment in two occupations. This is occupation 1, occupation 2. If you evaluate them, you can see that occupation X pays more wages than Y. Number of weeks of annual leaves, X has lesser weeks for leave, and occupation 2 has more leaves. And average length of working hours are greater in X, lesser in Y. Job security is lesser in X, higher in Y. Length of training required 1 year and 2 year. Okay, so what can definitely be concluded or deduced from this table? Option D is the correct answer for this question. Occupation Y has more non-pecuniary advantages than X. Non-pecuniary, non-financial, non-monetary benefits are the benefits apart from the wage rate. So occupation Y although pays low wages, but it provides more fringe benefits or non-pecuniary and non-pecuniary rewards or non-financial reward. Non-pecuniary mean non-financial things. So it provides more holidays, so it is non-pecuniary benefit that is provided more in Y, and working hours are less in Y. So this is again a benefit to the employees, and it provides more job security, and it provides more training to the workers. So these are the non-pecuniary benefits that consumers that workers will receive from occupation Y. Which changes in direct and indirect taxes are likely to increase the inequality of distribution of income in a developed country? Inequality means greater income gap between the rich and poor. So option B is correct answer. Direct taxes should fall, indirect taxes should rise. Direct taxes are the taxes that are paid on income of the consumers, and indirect taxes are paid on prices. They are charged on prices of the products. And this is kind of progressive tax, and this is kind of regressive tax. So if progressive tax falls, it means now the rich people will pay less and the poor people will pay more. So the income of poor people will further decrease, disposable income will further decrease, and the purchasing power and disposable income of the rich class will further rise, because rich class will be paying less taxes now. Indirect tax should rise. Indirect tax being regressive is basically it increases disparities. So indirect taxes, if they are increased, they increase disparities, and direct taxes, if they are decreased or they fall, then they will also increase disparities or income gap between the rich and poor. So inequalities will increase. Question number 15 says a government wishes to reduce the use of cars in cities, right? So the purpose is reducing the use of cars in cities. Which policy should be used? Option D is correct answer. Subsidizing public transport. Public transport mean buses and the services that are provided by the government generally. It may be like train service as well. So if more buses are running on road, then it means less cars will be required. So one bus can accommodate a lot of people, but one car can accommodate a few people. So when we subsidize public transport, more people may be inclined towards public transport, and the use of cars will decrease, and as a result negative externalities will be controlled and the use of cars will fall in the cities. Okay, so moving to question number 16. In a country, the top 20% earners pay 45% income tax and 25% sales tax and receive 5% in cash benefit. What is the percentage disposable income of this group? Keep in mind, disposable income is equal to personal income minus direct taxes. Okay, so personal income, if we consider personal income 100% and 100%, and the person is paying taxes, income taxes, the direct taxes 45%, we will deduct 45% from here, and he is getting back cash back 5%, we will add 5% again. So the net value will be 60%. So this is the disposable income of this group. Which combination of circumstances is more likely to lead to increase in budget deficit? Budget deficit is the situation when government's income is less than expenditure, so it means government is spending more and getting less in revenue. Why it happens? It happens when government's total GDP is lesser. If GDP decreases, then government expenditure will increase and government income will fall because people are earning less and they will be paying less in taxes. Unemployment is rising, right? If unemployment rises, then again it may cause deficit budget because government will have to pay more unemployment benefits to these unemployed people. Government spending, there should be no change. Question number 18 says, which statement applies to a central bank and to a commercial bank? Central banks are under the government and they don't aim to maximize profit, so option C is correct answer. Central bank will not aim to earn maximum profit. Yes, commercial bank is a private limited company, so its aim is to earn high profit. So C answer is correct. Question number 9 says, what is most likely to be the biggest contribution to sustainable economic growth in a developed economy? So option B is correct answer, an increase in technical training, right? So if you give technical training to the workers, then definitely you will be using better technology and better skills of the workers. So these workers as well as technology will help to reduce waste, and some resources will be saved for the future generations, and sufficient quantity of goods and services will be produced for the current generation. So sustainable economic growth is when you basically improve the quality of life of the current generation, but not at the cost of future generations. So B option is correct answer. Question number 20 is, which policy is likely to increase unemployment? Right. So option B is correct answer, a significant increase in indirect taxes. Right. If you impose more indirect taxes, then suppliers will be willing and able to supply less, and when supply falls, definitely producers need not to employ workers, and the demand for workers will decrease and unemployment will increase. Question number 21 is, what does the accelerator principle state? Accelerator is, so option C is correct answer. Accelerator is opposite to the multiplier. Multiplier is denoted by K, and multiplier is change in income over change in investment, means multiplier shows how much income will change due to change in investment, and accelerator is opposite to it. Like you can use this sign for the accelerator. Accelerator is equal to change in investment over change in income. So although both complement each other, what happens is, if our income increases, then what will be the change in investment? If we look into that, that is called accelerator, and when we say that what change in income will take place due to change in investment, that is called multiplier. So keep in mind that these are the definitions. Multiplier shows the change in income due to change in investment, and accelerator shows change in investment due to change in income. What happens is, when we earn more income, we may invest more. If we do that, that is called accelerator. But when we invest more, we earn more furthermore, that is called multiplier. Question 23 says, a government adopts an expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy is when government reduces taxes and increases government spending and increases aggregate demand to increase economic growth, right? Which other main macroeconomic aims is this policy most likely to help? Okay, so this policy will help to achieve full employment. Option D is correct answer. This will not help to achieve stable prices, and it will not help to achieve current account surplus, because when government uses aggregate like expansionary monetary policy, fiscal policy, it increases aggregate demand. So these are aggregate demand and aggregate supply curves. So initially price is P and real GDP is Y. Expansionary policy reduces tax and increases government spending. So as a result, aggregate demand will increase and it will move aggregate demand curve to the right. So price level will increase. When price level is increased, so GDP is also increasing, economic growth will be achieved. So this policy was aiming to achieve economic growth. However, stable prices are not achieved because prices are increasing. Question number 24 says country X decides to devalue its currency to eliminate balance of payment deficit. Devaluation is when government itself reduces the value of currency against other currencies. Why might devaluation have a positive effect on its economy? Option A is correct answer. Comparative pricing of exports may create employment potential in country X, right? So if prices are comparative prices mean when your prices are lower than the prices of other countries. So it will reduce deficit because if your exports are cheaper, mean comparative at lower prices than other countries, then definitely more people will be willing to purchase goods from you, and as a result deficit will be removed. Balance of payment deficit is when exports are less than imports, the value of export is less than the value of import. So when you are making your exports cheaper and comparative, then definitely exports will rise and deficit will be corrected. Okay, so question 25 says which cause of economic growth would involve the least cost for present and future generations of the country's population. So correct answer is D, technological innovations in production process. Definitely if you are improving your technology, then definitely you will be able to produce more with lesser resources, so more resources may be available for the future generations. Which additional component may be included in measuring economic development that are not included in economic growth, right? Economic growth and economic development are two different terms. Economic growth is rise in real GDP per capita. Economic development is when there is rise in standard of living as well. So economic development, while measuring economic development, we look into the additional information that has changes in distribution of income. Yes, we look into it. Level of poverty, yes, we look into it, but per capita we don't look into it because it is considered in economic growth, not in economic development, right? So economic development basically shows better standard of living of the country. Which curve is shown in the figure? So we have income inequality here and we have income per capita here, and this is an inverted U-shaped curve, and this curve is known as Kuznets curve, and Kuznets curve basically represents that as income increases, income inequalities also increase. Initially they reach the maximum point, and after that income inequalities also decrease. Sometimes examiner also posted Gini coefficient here. So Gini coefficient, if Gini coefficient increases, then it means income inequalities are increasing. If Gini coefficient falls, then it means income inequalities are decreasing. Question number 28, which indicator is least likely to be used when measuring the comparative economic development of a country? So D is the correct answer, size of population. This is the least likely thing that we use for economic development. Economic development is basically improvement in standard of living of the nation. So size of population is automatically adjusted, so this is the least thing we will consider here as an indicator. Okay, so the other question is, what is an example of an expenditure switching policy? Expenditure, there are two types of policies: expenditure switching policies and expenditure dampening policies. Switching policies are the policies that switch expenditure from imports to the locally produced goods, and dampening policies are aimed at reducing overall expenditure of the country, overall aggregate demand of the country. So switching policies are the policies like protectionism, including tariff, quota, embargo, etc. And devaluation of currency is also a switching policy. Devaluation of currency is also a switching expenditure switching policy. So in this case, like increase in tariff rates is an expenditure switching policy. When we increase import tariff, then imports will decrease and people will switch their expenditure from imported goods to locally produced goods. Labor from low income countries often migrates to high income countries, right, and find jobs. How would such movement of labor be likely to affect economic growth and the pressure on the wage rise in high income countries? Option C is correct answer. Economic growth is likely to increase, but pressure on the wage rate is likely to decrease. Why it happens? Economic growth will increase because people coming from the low income countries will also accept low wages and they will work more hard and they will be able to add more to the total GDP of the country. So economic growth will rise when GDP rises. Pressure on wage rate rise, it will decrease because when supply increases in developed countries, then definitely their wages will fall. So why pressure on wage rate rise will decrease? So we can make demand and supply of supply curve of labor. So initially equilibrium wage rate is this much. When more people are coming into developed countries, then supply of labor will rise and it will shift to the right, and equilibrium will move to this point, and as a result wages will decrease. So fall in wage rate will reduce pressure on the wage rise. Okay, so this is it, and I'll share with you the complete playlist of paper 3 in the description. So go there and copy that link and paste in Word file or save it on WhatsApp. So whatever you can do, you can basically save that link and you can watch all the videos that are relevant to paper 3. So this is a complete playlist. Once you click on that link, you will reach the playlist and you can start playing in a sequence, and you can see the explanation of different questions. Some questions are topically explained and some are yearly explained. So this is it for today's lesson. If you want to approach me on WhatsApp, then 0333442967 is my WhatsApp number. So see you soon with the next lesson. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.